everyone, Sabrina here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about my sewing plans for 2021. I want to do things a little different this year than I tried last year. I think I learned a bit about myself and how I prefer to operate when it comes to sewing in my free time. Last year I noticed that I wasn't sticking to plans for monthly videos if I had laid out some patterns or things that I wanted to do. There was something in my mind that made me feel like I didn't want to do those things anymore. So because I had planned to do pattern XYZ, something in my mind was telling me, well, I don't want to work on those. I want to work on, this one over here, or I want to do something totally different, or I found a pattern online that looked interesting and filled a gap in my wardrobe. So I just printed that out and went ahead and did that. And I didn't stick to my plans at all. So I think what I'm going to try to do this year is to sort of give myself a theme, just a broad theme for the month. And I'll still go on a month by month basis with, of course, everything subject to change, because something I learned is that if I tell myself that I specifically want to work on one thing, suddenly I will not want to work on that one thing. And instead, I will just avoid my sewing room and not come in here because I don't want to work on that one thing. And it becomes more of an assignment than something fun for me to do or something that I want to do to flex my creative muscles and fill in the need of creating something or just something I thought of, that kind of thing. So for the month of January, I tentatively have all 12 months like planned out, but we'll just have to see if I stick to them or change those plans up, because I just know that the more strict that I try to be with myself, the more my mind is going to sort of fight with me and not want to do those things necessarily. So for January, I kind of want to focus on what I would describe as my like work from home glam. I don't even know if you can call it glam, but just kind of work from home items that are comfy but also beautiful, things that I could wear on video calls. And with that, I want to make sure that I have some fun items that I can wear that are also comfortable. One of those things is a house robe. So I've been thinking about making some kind of fun robe per se, or wrap, something I can put on top of other things just to stay warm, but also that isn't like a standard fuzzy bathrobe, because I do have a fuzzy purple bathrobe and I do love it. But if I'm in my freezing cold sewing room at 8 o'clock in the morning, I might not necessarily want to throw my fuzzy purple bathrobe over like my nice blazer that I'm wearing for the day or something like that. So I do have a couple patterns in mind, but I'm not going to necessarily force myself to use them. I just want to have that overarching idea out there. And then that way, when I get my sojo kind of going and I feel like sewing something like a robe or a long dress, prairie style dress, that's another option. I'm kind of leaving into that theme just to let myself choose what I'm feeling like sewing. So I have a couple patterns set out, but they're not necessarily things I'm stuck on. And I think that kind of style of plan is going to work best for me this year. But again, I'm just going to see how it goes and then adjust as needed. And we'll see if by February I want to continue with that particular style. I got this idea from a friend of mine over on Instagram. Her handle is Stitchsessions. I'll go ahead and link her down in my description. She kind of focuses more on a pattern of the month, and even then, occasionally she'll do maybe different patterns. But basically, she is focusing on trying to use patterns that she already has in her stash, try them out, work on them for a while to see if that pattern works for her, and then move on. So she doesn't really operate more like I do, where if I try a pattern and it just fails, sometimes I get discouraged and I just say, I'll just put that away and I won't use it. Instead, she kind of allows herself to work on them for a bit longer, do a couple mock-ups or toiles, and then move on to the actual wearable item. And I think that that leads to more successful makes, in my personal opinion, just from watching her go through that process in the last year. So I wanted to do the same idea, but I know that if I tell myself I have to work on one pattern for an entire month, or, that's my pattern and I need to focus on it, my brain is going to say, nope, I don't want to do that anymore. I never wanted to make overalls. Like, I will just fight it tooth and nail. Something I'm working on, but it's just how my brain works at the moment. So I'm just going to go with it and work around it and see if I can be a little more successful that way. So, aside from patterns and themes for the month, I also want to give myself more room to just try out different patterns, different things as they come up. Something I found last year that I really enjoyed working with was fleece. I decided to try my hand at making pajama pants, and I was at my local Joann fabric store and found some really cute polar bear fleece in the remnant section. It was just over a yard and it was pretty wide, and then they also had some light baby blue in a remnant too, so it was, a cheap project. If I screwed it up, it wasn't a big deal, but it really stoked my interest in using fleece. And since then, I've made a couple more pairs of pajamas and I made some beanies for family. So fleece has been fun. And those projects were definitely not something that I planned ahead of time or really ever thought that I would have gotten into last year. But I found that the faster, smaller projects were just what my sewing brain needed in the last half of 2020. So I kind of pretty much just worked on masks, worked on the beanies, like I said, pajama pants. I made a couple raglan style long sleeve t-shirts, couple baby projects for some friends who had babies last year. And I just really focused on those simple little projects that gave me a feeling of like accomplishment, because I needed to just work on something and be done with it and work on something else and be done with it. I was struggling to keep up with more tedious projects. My mental bandwidth was just not quite there. So that worked really well for me, and I want to leave room for me to do that again this year, just as I work through projects and I work through my themes. If I decide to make, I don't know, a fanny pack or something randomly in the month of February, it's not the end of the world that it doesn't go with my February theme. So again, it's my plans this year for myself are very loose. They're very more like suggestions or guidelines than actual set in stone rules. So that's kind of how I'm operating. Sorry if that's not as exciting or interesting or easy to follow for you guys, but I'm up for suggestions too. So if there's anything you guys want to see, definitely let me know. Just leave it in the comments, or you can also find me on Instagram and message me there. But I am more than happy to make some videos based on what you guys actually want to see. That being said, I also have one other big overarching theme for 2021, and it has to do with this lovely lady right here. And she is functional and fabulous. I cannot wait to get into working on her a little bit later in the year, but I'm trying to relax and not start a million projects at once. So that will all come in time. She's in my sewing room, so I can stare at her in all of her beauty because she makes me happy. And I will be sure to do a video on her here shortly. So those are basically my plans for 2021. I know I didn't really talk about a lot of specifics in this video, but I just wanted to pop in. It's been a really long time since I posted a video. 2020 got crazy, and I know that it was crazy for a lot of people, so we don't all need to get into that, but I just want to let you guys know I am trying really hard to get my content up for you guys. I'm hoping I can do a video every week. I will say that I work a job that is seasonal for every other year, so this winter is going to be a bit busy for me. I'm going to try my best to keep putting out content, and I might miss a week here and there, but I'm trying to do every week on Thursdays. First week of January has already proven that it may not be Thursdays, but we'll go with it, and I'm going to try to keep putting things up for you guys. So if you do have any requests, thoughts, suggestions, questions, whatever you want to see from me going into 2021, please leave them in the comments below. I really, really love chatting with you guys down there. I'm trying to increase my personal sewing circle because I don't have a lot of people in my life who sew. I have actually met quite a few people through Instagram, and that has been so wonderful. So if you have any thoughts or want to join me there as well, my Instagram handle is Sangreena619. I'll go ahead and link that in the description box for you guys as well if you'd like to find me there. If you haven't already and you'd like to stick around and join that sewing circle, please feel free to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.